Here we go again. Practice paper A, paper 1, so non-calculator, hour and a half. Let's go for it. How many terms are in the expression? Well, there are 1, 2, 3 parts to it, basically. So there are 3 terms to the expression. Join each box on the left to a box on the right. So an expression, I've told us that's an expression already. An equation, something is equal to something else, so that's an equation. A formula, well, that is the formula for volume of a cuboid, so that's a formula. And identity is when two things are equivalent to each other, which is where we get the sort of extra equal sign in there. So that goes there. A sensor records temperature at 7 AM, it then records temperature every 3 hours. Another sensor records air pressure at 8 AM and records the air pressure every 4 hours. What times in every 24-hour period will the two sensors take the same reading? Okay, so I'll do this like a list approach is the way I'll do it. So temperature, it's 7 AM and it's every 3 hours, so 10 AM, 1 PM, 4 PM, 7 PM, 10 PM, 1 AM, 4 AM, and then we're back to 7 AM after that. So that's that. Air pressure is first done at 8 AM and it's every 4 hours, so it's 12 noon. I'll just put noon so I can fit it in. Then it's 4 PM, then 8 PM, then it's midnight. Oh. And then it'll be 4 in the morning, and then it'll be 8 in the morning, which takes us back to the start. So what times have we got the same in both lists? Let's go for a highlighter pen. We've got 4 PM here and 4 PM there, so done at the same time there, and then at 4 AM there and 4 AM there. So they are the two times. At what times? It'll be 4 AM and 4 PM. The sensors will take readings at the same time. 3. I like these questions. Just look at a list and work your way through it. The table shows the activities on the trip. Each student chooses 2 activities. Twice as many boys as girls choose rock climbing. So twice as many boys, or twice as 8 is 16. 2 more boys choose archery than horse riding. So 10 chose horse riding, 12 must choose archery, and 5 times more girls choose horse riding than chose archery. 4 lots of 5 is 20. So that's that. Now how many students are on the trip altogether? Add them up. It's up to you how you do it. I would do 12 add 8 is 20, 16 add 4 is 20, so that's 40, add the 20 is 60, add the 10 is 70. 70 marks, 75 marks for that. Bosh, I don't think that's too hard. Just make sure you treat this as like a list and just work your way through them, and normally you'll get yourself to the answer fairly happily. Hello, I realised I just made a mistake though. So, yes, there are 70 altogether, but each student chooses 2 activities. A good job, I went back and checked through that. So, each student chooses 2 activities, so we're going to have to half that number. 70 divided by 2 is 35. That'll be where the extra mark has come from then. So, 35 students altogether. And you got that one wrong. Number 4, a teacher gave her students a test. The test is out of 30. What percentage of the students score 80% of more? Okay, so first job is to find 80% of 30. First of all, 10% of 30 is 3, so 80% of 30 will be 8 lots of that, which is 24. So we're basically looking for How many pupils got 24 marks or more? So now we've got that, it's not too bad. 24 marks is here, so 24, 25 and 28. There are 3 of them. That's 80% and that's more than 80%. Number 5. Expand. 5x plus 25. Factorise means to put into a bracket, and to do that we look for something that's common to both of the terms, which is x. And now what do we find x squared to get x squared? Another x, and x squared to get 6x. 6. So if I multiply this out, it would be x squared plus 6x. Okay, x is an odd number. Complete these sentences using one of the following. Okay, so x is odd, say 3. If you add on 5, you get 8. You get an even number. An odd and an odd is an even, and then even times by anything is going to be even. So always even on that one. If you're not sure, do a few examples. Try 1, try 3, try 5, try 9, try any odd number, and you'll find that they're always even. Now for this one here, an odd number. Well, an odd number times an odd number is odd. So this bit here is odd, and an even number times an odd number will be even. So now if we do odd add even, say 1 add 2 is 3, then you're always going to get yourself an odd number. And again, if you're not sure, try a few. Whack some numbers into it and see what they always work out to be. In a word, half the trees are oak, 30% are sycamore, the rest are elm. What is the ratio? Okay, so I would imagine there's 100 trees because we've got a percentage there. Half of them are oak, 30%, so 30 of them are sycamore, which means 20 of them must be elm. And now if I simplify that, I divide it by 10, then my answer is 5 to 3 to 2. 5, 3, 2. Now once I've got 5 to 3 to 2, and here we go, this next question, which says that 1/5 of the oak trees die, so we can do a fifth of 5, well that's 1, and half of the sycamore trees are cut down. So that'll be 1.5, and then the elm stays the same. Now, that's lovely, but we can't have a decimal in here, so we have to double everything. So that'll be 2 to 3 to 4 is our answer. 2 to 3 to 4. Solve the equation. 10x minus 3 equals 4x minus 12. Okay, so for these, as we sign, you've basically got two sides. You've got this side of the equation, left side, and then you've got the other side of the equation. And you do the same to both sides. So your first job is to get rid of the lowest amount of x's, so I'm going to get rid of 4x off here. So 10x take 4x is 6x minus 3, and on this side I took the 4x off, so I'm left with minus 12. And now I'm going to add 3 to this side to get rid of that, which means I'm going to have to add 3 to the other side as well. So if I add 3 to that side, I get left with 6x, and minus 12 add 3 is minus 9. And then finally, if I divide by 6, I get minus 1.5, because 9 divided by 6 is 1.5. And again, on them division ones, if you've got a tricky one to do, like that, then write it as a fraction. So there's 9 over 6, and if I divide them both by 3, by simplifying it, I get 3 over 2, and then half of 3 is 1.5. So if you're not sure on them ones, write it as a fraction and simplify it, and you should get left with a fairly easy division to do. Okay, solve the equation 5 over 6 plus d equals 1 3/4. Okay, so to do this one, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a mixed number and turn that into 7 over 4. Okay, now if I want to know what d is, then I need to take 5/6 away from both sides. In other words, D is going to equal seven over 4 minus 5 over 6. Okay, because if I take that over to the other side, then I get my answer. So now I've just got a fraction question. I'm just going to move that up there, so I've got myself a bit of room to work with. So how do I work that out? Well, if we make them common denominator over 12, that would be the easiest way. So that would be 21 over 12. So 7 over 4 is the same as 21 over 12. And 5 over 6 is the same as 10 over 12. So now 21 take 10 is 11 over 12. 11 twelfths. And there's your answer, 11 twelfths. Having the fractions in there makes it quite difficult if you think about how you would solve that if they were nice easy numbers, and then try and do it with the fraction numbers instead and see how that goes. The exterior angle of regular polygon is 72 degrees. That's true. Colin says a regular decagon's got twice as many sides, so the exterior angle is 72 divided by 2. Ben says a regular decagon has twice as many sides, so the exterior angle must be 2 times 72. Well, the way I would do this, I'd use the rule for exterior angles. So exterior angle of regular polygon equals 360 divided by the number of sides, which is a rule you kind of really need to know. So for us, exterior angle of decagon equals 360 divided by the number of sides, which is 10. So that is equal to 36 degrees. So now we know that, who is going to be correct? Is it going to be Colin or Ben? Well, 36 degrees. 72 times 2 is 144. 72 divided by 2 is 36. So Colin is correct. Well done, Colin. Number 9. Here is a rule for continuing sequence. Times by 2 and subtract 1. Work out the first and fifth of this one here. Okay, so 13 times 2 is 26, and subtract 1 is 25. So that's 25 for the fifth term. First term is a bit more difficult, we have to do it backwards. So instead of times 2 subtract 1, we're going to add 1 divided by 2. So add 1 to that, it's going to be 5, and divide by 5 by 2 is going to be 2.5. We can check that. If I times that by 2 I get 5, and take off 1 I get 4. So that one is 2.5. Okay, nth term then. To work out the nth term, you're basically looking for two things. The first thing is you're looking for seeing what it goes up or down by each time. That all goes up by 3, up by 3, up by 3, up by 3. So the first thing we write down is 3n. Because it means it's related to the 3 times table. And now how do I get from 3 to the first number? How do I get from 3 to 1? Well, hopefully you spot to do that, I add 1. So it's 3m plus 1. And there's your answer. And again, you can kind of check that, because if you look at our original sequence, it's basically the 3 times table, but 1 higher. So instead of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, it's one higher than that, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16. Winner. Number 10. The diagram shows a right angled triangle ABC. AC equals 50. AC to B equals X. You are given these facts here. Calculate the length BC. So, looks like we might have ourselves a bit of trigonometry going on. As soon as you've got trigonometry, you want to be writing down your triangles of what you might need. So sock, car, tower. Okay, now we're working out the length BC. I'm going to put a little y there so we know what it is we're working out. So we're working out this length y here. Okay, well this is the angle here, and from that we know the adjacent and the hypotenuse. We don't know the opposite. So which one of these rules are we going to be using? Well, the one with the adjacent and the hypotenuse involved. That one there. So now what we're trying to work out, we're working out the adjacent. So I cover adjacent up, then the adjacent is the cosine of the angle times the hypotenuse. So we're getting somewhere. Y equals, y is what I'm trying to work out, cosine of the angle x. I'll put that in a bracket for now. Don't really need a bracket, but I don't want my x's looking the same. Multiplied by the hypotenuse, which is 50. So for us that is, well, cos x is 7 over 25. That's given to us as part of the question. I'm going to times that by 50. Actually, I'm going to write that a bit differently. Okay. Right, so we got to that. There's got a bit more room. So now we've just got ourselves a bit of fraction work, really, number work to finish off. So if we're timesing a fraction by a number, you just times the top number. So that's going to be the same as 350 divided by 25. And what is 350 divided by 25? Well, I'll just be using my fingers. 25, 50, 75, 100. 125, 150, 175, 200 is 8. 225, 250, 275, 300 is 12. 325, 350 is 14 times. So it's 14 centimetres is our answer. Okay, number 11. Note the star. Beth buys concert tickets for 2 adults and a child, costing £63. Jane buys concert tickets for 3 adults and 2 children, costing £101. Sean has £60. He wants to buy a ticket for an adult and 3 children. Does he have enough money? Okay, so what we need to do is we need to set up some sort of algebra. You must show your working. So I'm going to say something along the lines of, let A stand for an adult and let C stand for a child. So if I do that, Beth's equation is 2 adults plus 1 child equals 63, and Jane's equation is 3 adults plus 2 children, which is 101. These simultaneous equations. So I'll call that one equation 1 and that one equation 2. Right, so I need to make the same amount of A's or C's. I could times this first one by 3 and that one by 2 to get the A's the same, but it's going to be easier just to times the first one by 2. Just going to do 1 times by 2. So I times 2A by 2, I get 4A, and then 2C is 126. So I'll call that equation 3. So now I've got this equation. If I line them up, that might be nicer. This equation and this equation here. So I need to take them away from each other. And so I'm going to do equation 3, take away equation 2. So 4A minus 3A is 1A, or just A. 2C minus 2C is nothing. 126 minus 101 is £25. So adults cost £25. So now I can substitute into one of these. So we shall substitute into equation 1. 2 adults plus a child equals 63. So 50 plus a child equals 63, which tells me C equals, so children cost £13. Okay, so now I've got that, I'm going to sort of run out of room a bit, so I'm going to have to carry on the overside here. So I now know that adults cost £25 and children cost £13. So 1 adult and 3 children will cost £25 plus 3 lots of children £13, which is 25 plus 39, which is, if I add them together, 25, 50, 20 and 30 is 50, 5 and 9 is 14, so it's £64. So unfortunately, Sean does not have enough money to buy the tickets. I guess he's going to have to choose who his favourite child is to take with him. Favourite 2 children are to take with him, and leave the one he doesn't like at home. Something like that. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense. Okay, now I have gone over the top a little bit with the explaining of everything else, but the star makes me want to do that, and 5 marks as well makes me want to do that. Okay, but essentially we're setting up simultaneous equations, we're solving them to get our prices, and then we can then use that information to answer the question. Shape is made from a semicircle and an isosceles triangle as shown. The triangle is 4 cm high, the diameter of the circle is 6 cm. Work out the perimeter of the shape. Give your answer in terms of pi. Right, so essentially there's our 2 shapes. We've got ourselves a semicircle down here, of which we want to work out the length of this bottom arc, and then we've got ourselves a triangle here, of which we want to work out the slanted edge there. Okay, so circumference equals pi times diameter. Cherry pie is delicious. That's for the circle the whole way round, is worth remembering. Now what is the diameter? The diameter is 6, so that is 6 pi, and we've only got half of a circle, so that's equal to 3 pi. Okay, so that length there is 3 pi. I guess I probably should put semicircle length rather than C there, is 3 pi, but that should be fine. And now as for this length here, well, hopefully you can see we've got ourselves a right angle triangle, so it's Pythagoras. C squared is A squared plus B squared, C squared is 4 squared plus 3 squared, C squared is 16, add 9, C squared is 25, that slanted edge is 5 centimeters long. So our final job then is to work out the perimeter of this shape. So what have we got? We've got that slanted edge plus another slanted edge, plus we've got ourselves the curved bit at the bottom, which is 3 pi. And so 5 add 5 is 10, plus 3 pi. Now, if we had a calculator, we could then work that out a bit further by typing in 3 pi, but it's asked us to leave it in terms of pi, so we can leave it just like that. Winner. 13. Not many more. 13, 13a. We've got ourselves a star again. To me, I think that just means that they're going to want us to write down a reason to go with it. Although 13b would come into that as well. Yeah, and there's a bit of working out there. So, and we'll put our reasons down. So what is the value of x? Well, x and 50 are the same as each other. And that's the one that looks like a bow theorem. 50 degrees. And the real words, or the real explanation rather than bow theorem, is angles in the same segment are equal. Okay, so 1 mark, possibly don't need to put the reason, but I think I'll be tempted to put it in there anyway. Write down the value of y. Let's do y, we kind of just want to look at this arrow instead, there, rather than both of them. I can't draw it very well, but hopefully we see that arrow there. So it's arrow theorem, which says that the angle at the centre is twice the angle at the circumference. So if x is 50, y is 100. And again, I'm going to put that reason down. Angle at centre is twice angle at circumference. So your answer is 100. 13b. Which circle theorem states that angle YPS, so YPS, this angle here, is the same as PQS. PQS, that angle there. Okay. Well, that theorem is the alternate segment theorem. Is your answer to that one? Okay, so work out the value of angle QPS. QPS, this whole angle here, is what we're trying to work out. Okay, cool. Well, this kind of gives us a little hint. It's telling us that these two angles are equal to each other, which means we're probably going to need that somewhere. And what we need it for, really, is if we know that one, we know this one. And then once we know that one, we've got a straight line here, and the bit we're trying to work out, the QPS bit, is the blue, let's go with green bit, in the middle there. So what is that angle up there? Well, and again, it's still a star question, so I'm still going to put some reasons here. Angle PQS equals 48. Now why does that equal 48? Well, same as we had before, it's the bow theorem, or because angles in the same segment are equal. So that's that. So angle YPS is the same as we looked at in part 1. That's the alternate segment theorem. So finally, angle QPS is 180 minus 48 minus 54. And why is that? Well, because angles in a straight line add up to 180. So now I've just got to finish it off by actually working it out. 180, 48, 54. So I'll add them together first. 50 and 40 is 90, 98, 102. If you take that off of 180, you're left with 78. degrees. And there we are done. Now, that's not to say there's the only way of doing that. I can imagine that you could work out this angle here as 54, and that's 48, and say angles in a triangle as 180. Yeah, there are different ways that you can do it, but I think that's probably the one I would do. Hopefully that follows. 14, we're nearly there. Whoop-de-whoop. These 8 letters are placed in a hat. Aardvark. Who comes up with these questions? A letter is drawn from the hat at random, noted and replaced. Another letter is drawn from the hat at random. Complete the tree diagram. Okay, so you've got 8 letters. Chance of getting an A is 3 over 8. So the chance of not getting an A will be 5 over 8. Then the letter is put back, replaced. So the letter is put back and done again. So the chance of getting an A is still 3 over 8. And a B is going to be 5 over 8. An A is 3 over 8. Or a B is 5 over 8. So there's our tree diagrams. Okay. Work out the probability that exactly one of the 2 letters drawn is an A. Well, which one is that going to be? Exactly one of the 2 letters is an A. Exactly one. So we could basically get an A and then not an A. Is one option. Or we could not get an A first time, but then get an A second time. So them lines there are our options. Okay, so the probability of A then not A, i.e. your red line, is 3 over 8 times by 5 over 8, which then work out times your top numbers, your numerators. 3 times 5 is 15, and times your denominators. 8 times 8 is 64. So that's what one. Or probably not an A, but then getting an A. Well, that would be 5/8. Cheat a little bit. Okay, so probably not getting an A is 5/8, but then probably an A getting the next time will be 3/8, which still works out to be 15 over 64. So probability of exactly 1A is going to be adding them 2 together. 15 over 64 plus 15 over 64. So that will be 30 over 64. Now I tend to stop there when I'm doing probabilities, 30 over 64, okay, because you're not going to lose a mark for that, unless it says simplify your answer, which it doesn't. However, if you do simplify it, make sure you do it properly. 15 over 32. Okay, but just be careful doing that, because if you simplify that wrong, then you'll end up getting the wrong answer, even if you got it right here. Okay. 15 surds. Oh yeah, gotta love a surd. Set this up then, get myself a little surd sign sorted out. Okay, so work out root 2 plus 3, give your answer in this form here. Okay, so we're just going to expand the brackets. We're going to do root 2 times root 2, or 2 times 2 is 4, so that would be square root of 4. Then we do root 2 times by 5, well that would be 5 lots of root 2. Then we do 3 times root 2, that will be 3 root 2. And then we do 3 times 5, which is 15. So you expand that as if you were expanding a double bracket. Okay, so now simplifying it, well what is square root of 4? Square root of 4 is 2, so I can do that. And you just want to check that there are any other bits that you can do, but I can't do the square root of 2, and I can't simplify root 2 or anything else, so I can leave that as that. And now we combine 2 add 15 is going to be 17, and 5 root 2 add 3 root 2 is going to give me 8 root 2's, and there's your answer. you can see that it's written in this form: 17 plus 8 root 2, where A, B and C are integers, whole numbers basically. So that'd be your answer, 17 plus 8 root 2. Number 6, a test is marked at 50. 60% of the students pass the test. Estimate the pass mark. You must show your work in. Okay, so essentially your median is your halfway point. So I've got 50% of pupils are at my median there, and then I've got 25% is your quartile, so I've got 25% here, then I've got myself 75% there, so I just need to know what my quartiles are. So your top and bottom box and the middle box. It's there, the middle bar going through your box. So 60% passed the test. Okay, so in terms of my graph, 60%, well, all of these people pass the test, 50% there, but then also another 10% pass the test there. Okay, so 10% out of that whole 25% pass the test, which is 2/5. So I now need to find what 2/5 of the distance is from 30 down to 20. Okay, so 2/5 of 30 to 20 is 10 marks. Let's do that first. So 30 is 10 marks, and 2/5 of 10 equals, well, 1/5 would be 2, so it'll be 4 marks. So to work out how many were above that, I'm then going to do 30 minus 4 equals 26 marks. And that's the point that people got more than. Okay. Hopefully that follows. Fingers crossed. Right, last one, 17. Here's a good one. A rectangle has width, blah. The perimeter is blah de blah. The area is 26. Work out the value of x. Okay, so if I want the area, I need to know this length here, because then I can do this times this, it's going to equal 26. So I need to work that length there out first. Let's do that. I'm going to call it something. I'll call it A for now. That's what I'm going to try and work out. I know that the perimeter, so 2x plus 1, plus that missing length A, plus another 2x plus 1 for the other side, plus another missing length A, is all equal to the perimeter, which is 2 lots of 5x 3. So now I've got that, I need to simplify it. So I've got 2x plus 2x is 4x, plus 1 is 2, and I've got 2a. It's going to equal, and expand the bracket, 10x plus 6. Okay, so now if I take the 4x off of this side here, then I get left with 2 plus 2a, 6x plus 6. Just by using the rules of solving equations and doing the same to both sides of the equal sign. So I took 4x off of the left side and took 4x off of that side, and take 2 off of there as well. So I'm just left with 2a there, and 6x take off 2 is plus 4. So finally, if I want to get a, I have to half everything. So half of 6x is 3x, and half of 4 is 2. So I now know that that length there is 3x plus 2. That length there is 3x plus 2. Okay, so that's so far so good. Now then, back to the area one. So the area means that this length times that length equals 26. In other words, 3x plus 2 multiplied by 2x plus 1 is equal to 26. So how can I solve that? I'm going to expand the brackets first, so 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times 1 is 3x, 2 times 2x is 4x, and 1 times 2 is 2, is equal to 26. That needs to be a squared sign name. Now combine them, so 3x plus 4x is 7x. And finally, if I want to solve quadratics, I need to make this side equal to 0. So to do that, I'm going to have to take 26 off of the right hand side to make that 0, and take 26 off of here. It's going to make it negative 24. So I get to that point there. Right, so now solving quadratics. I've got some choices here. I can do quadratic formula, or I could do factorising it. Because it doesn't say anywhere, leaves 2 decimal places, and because I haven't got a calculator, that sort of implies to me that I should be able to factorise it. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and factorise this into double brackets. That's quite a tricky one. I could have 6x and x there, although I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to go for 3x and 2x in them. That's purely a gut feeling. It's nothing more scientific than that, really. Now, what times to give 24? So we have -1 and 24. We could have +1 and -24. We can make this list somewhere else, actually. So -1 plus 24. I could have +1 and -24. I could have -2 plus 12. I could have +2 and -12. 3 and 8. Or -3 and +8. I could have -4 and +6. Or I could have +4 and -6. In them there. So I'm now going to have to try these and see which one is going to give me what I need. I know I'm going to get my -24, and I've got my 6x squared, so it's a 7x bit that needs to swap out in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for these numbers and times them by these to see which one's going to get me to that 7. 4 times by 3 is 12, take off 6 knots is 12, that's no good. 3 and 8, there we go, I think that's it, because 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 8 is 16, and taking them away gives me the 7. So I think it's going to be 3 and 8. I'll write them down. So 3 times 3 is 9, and 8 times 2 is 16. But now I need to get them right around. So to get 7x, positive 7x, I need the 16 to be as high as possible. So I'm going to have myself a plus sign in there, and a minus sign in there, I think. So let's check it. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 8 times 2x is 16x. 3 times 3x is 9x minus 9x, which is 7x, and 8 times 3 is -24. So I'm getting somewhere. So now I've got two choices. I can either have 3x plus 8 equals 0, or 2x minus 3 equals 0. So if I solve this one, then I get 3x equals -8. That means x is going to be -8/3. Or if I do this one, I'm going to get 2x equals 3. X equals half of 3, 1.5, or 3/2. So I've got myself two answers here. And the problem is, work out the value of x. Only one of these works. Okay, now which one is that going to be? Well, if I use the negative 8/3 as my x value, and when I put them into these here, I'm going to get myself a negative answer. And I can't have a negative length. Lengths can only be positive. Whereas if I use x as 1.5, then I'm going to get myself positive lengths for both of them. So to finish off, my answer is going to be x is equal to 1.5. Because unfortunately, this one here, see if I can make a point of it. There you go. That one's going to give me negative lengths. This one here is going to give me positive lengths. Well, that was a tricky old question, but then I guess for 6 marks you'd hope it would be. Again, with these sorts of things, just try and work your way through them step by step. You know, even if you don't get 6 marks, you're going to pick up a lot of marks along the way. So just try and do them bit by bit. You know, like I said, at this point here, 6x squared, you could use quadratic formula, and you'd have got yourself 2 answers. One which would have looked ugly, -8/3, but one which would have looked not too bad, 1.5, which would then make sense for your answer. Okay? Well, hopefully that's okay. Again, any problems, you want to come and find me, or you want to go and find your teacher, and they will talk through it with you.